Can we just move straight to page 3? Okay, we have our annual road maintenance expenditure plan. For rehabilitation, we have $9,893,105.99. And to have it in the section, I'm going to read for you the allocations. We have allocation of counterpart fallings and primary roads rehabilitation works. We have $867,340.96. And all payment done with this line have been for the Sagebipa to Lokato Road for RAP, which is RAP and associated payment. In the second sector, we have public sector investment project, which is the PSRP funding and allocations, is $9,027,765.03. And for this one, we'll come down, we have rehabilitation of Monrovia neighborhood roads, project area, ELW rehab community. The cost of this project is $4 million, and the amount we have expended on this project is $1,200,000, which constitutes to 84% of this project. The payment reflects disbursement during the period. Then the next one is rehabilitation of Monrovia Neighborhood Road project. It's a 400 because of one project. We have Banga, Broad Street, Chubot Road, Pecan Fairground, and Rehab Community Road as well. The cost of that project is $3,520,000, and we have expended $1,056,000, constituting the project to be 83%. The next one is rehabilitation of Monrovia neighborhood roads, to Southfield, Barnesville, and Barnesville to New Georgia Gulf. The cost of this project is $3,920,000, and we have expended $823,200, constituting it to 60%. And then we have rehabilitation of Monrovia Old Road, Swanson Michael, to Granville Town Hall, Patient Shop Road. The cost of this project is $2 million, and we have expended $600,000, which constitutes 50% of this project. And we have rehabilitation of Dore Community Road, which is like 2.7 kilometers. And the entire project cost is $2,315,168.20. And we have expended $400,463,027.64, which is like about 100%. They have completed 100% of that project. So we have construction of 5.2 kilometer asphalt concrete pavement on Lake Town, and we have 2.7 kilometer of Banjo community and 2.5 community within Monserrado County, which is like $4,760,662.50. And we have expended $1,428,198.25, which was like for mobilization. And the next one is the construction of 6.5 kilometer asphalt pavement on the Pipeline Road. The project cost is $6,419,016.64. $16, and we have expended $700,000, which is like 55% of the project that have been completed up to date. And we have construction of 7.2 kilometers of asphalt and concrete pavements in the Dwight Zone Sand Beach Road, which is like 1.7 kilometers. We have Soviet Road, which is like 1.35 kilometers. The Sokine, which is Sokine Road, which is like 4.2 kilometers. All in Montserrat County, value of the payment is like 1,432,000. Due to the limited fund, we have only given 1,200,000 paid right now, and the balance is like 232,000 for the $4 will be paid later, and that will be for the mobilization. Then we have construction of 80% of the 5.4 kilometers of the asphalt road, Chucky Taylor Road, which is like 1.8 kilometers, Focal Mission Road, which is like 1.8 kilometers, and the Lockington Broad Street, which is like 1.8 kilometers. And the cost of this project is $4,320,000. And we have paid $492,749.28. And the project startup is like 87%.
Page 5. Go to page 5 now. Just turn over to page 5.
Sorry, page 5. So we have construction of 11.5 kilometers of asphalt pavement on the dry Rice Market Road corridor in Montserrat County. The project cost is $9,666,508.50. And the amount we have expended on this project is $933,101.70. And the project had gone to, the start of the project is 26%. Then we have for emergency maintenance of road, bridges, and drainage due to sudden failure of obstacle, obstructing safe and efficient use of facility. And for this one, we have $177,589.84. So the breakdown for the emergency projects are Vonjoman to Brazilian spot repair or done there, which is like $247,797.60. And the money expended was like $99,119. But the project started is 100%, meaning it's been completed already. Then we have in Vonjoman again, we have Vonjoman Baziwin, which have a covered installation. It was like $30,600 for the project cost, and we have spent $12,240. The project is 100% completed. We have Vonjoman, the same project, Vonjoman the Baziwin. Maintenance, emergency maintenance, which is like $143,067, and we have expended $57,226.80. That falls under emergency. We'll go to the next one. We have Monrovia City emergency works. We have expended $9,000. And it's completed. We have, these works are done by the Ministry of Public Works. These works were executed by Public Works. For emergency, we still continue to go to page 6. Periodic maintenance, lateral roads. We have $895,898.27. And to have the breakdown, we got periodic maintenance of feeder road from Parallel to Zoita, which is like 26.5 kilometers in Bone County. And then we have periodic maintenance, 221.4 kilometers lateral road from Ganta to Zredu, which is like 6 million. The cost of the project is like $6,537,425. And we have expended $300,000. And the start of the project is 21%. Periodic maintenance of 130 kilometers of primary lateral road in Sando, Atia Bridge to Greenfield. The project cost is $1,905,218.80. And the project, we have expended $300,000, and that was for mobilization. Page 7. Periodic maintenance for resurfacing work of urban roads. The cost, the amount expended is $1,757,000. $112.10. So the breakdown of these things will come down below where we have ceiling of 2.1 kilometers of road in Cannonsville, Sando with chip seals. The cost of the project is $1,067,338.51. And we have expended $373,568 for the estimate. And that constitutes just for the mobilization of that project. Then we have ceiling of 2.5 kilometers of road in Bakerville City, Granville County with chip seal. The cost of this project is $923,259.63. And the amount expended is $323,140.87. We have another city which is like 2.9 kilometers of road in Bopolu City, Bopolu County, with the chip seal. The cost of this project is $900,000, and the amount expended is $315,000. Another periodic maintenance of urban roads is Johnsonville to Sept Bridge in Monroeville. The cost of this project is $1,801,342.53. The amount expended is $545,402.75, which constitutes 25%. And that was the periodic maintenance of Johnson Street to Sept Bridge in Moscow County. The trial test of the Polo roads. Polarized smart materials for road construction on the 0.95 kilometer at the Mediterranean Hospital. The cost of this project is $226. We got $510,171, and the total of the entire team, the grand total is $13,379,883. That was for the rehabilitation. Here, roads and bridges. Page 8. Yeah.
No,
510,000.
110,000.
171. So the total for what we're reading, the grand total is $13,379,883. Yeah, that was the performance. This is for the new budget. Okay, I'm going to send the mic over to the finance team to just move forward with this fiscal year.
Thank you. So for fiscal year 2020-21 budget forecast, what we outlined for
Page 9.
page 9, page 11.
11.
Okay, so our total budget projection for fiscal year 2020-2021 is costing at $32,261,566. So go back to page 11 to give you the detailed breakdown as to how we projected our expenditure to be under the fiscal period. So for basic salary civil service, it's $2.6 million. So we don't need to go back there, right? Yeah, all listening. Now, there's an increase.
It's increased by about 300,000, and it's basically prior to this budget year, all government appointed persons were paid through CSA. But as of this year, they are rolled over to the entity. Exactly so, that's it.
Political appointees.
Yes. Everybody, yes. So, yes.
No change, yeah. So the total goods and services on here is 565. $565,781. We don't as quickly as possible. Services being captured, what you call consultancy. Yeah.
So how much is for consultancy and how much is left in here, goods and services?
Total consultancy is $511,990. The difference of 44 goods and services on an aggregate.
So you got $511,000 for consultancy.
Yes.
Which is almost like salary.
Yes.
So what is left in your operation?
What is left is 45,000 because 562 minus.
5,000.
Yeah, 45,000. Yes.
Yeah, seriously. In reality, that is what is there, but to be able to really run the Ministry of Public Works, I agree with you on what JJ. It's very difficult to run the Ministry of Public Works without
When
that
did you
money.
take your keys with the Minister of Finance?
Is that if you look at the goods and services section, of that budget, you have say $565,781. Of that amount, the program something like 511,000 in consultancy services, which by any account, is a huge amount. So it clears out all of their goods. Okay? Yeah, we gave you your goods. So you decide how you apportion your goods.
Do you have the documentation? You see 511 consultancy, right? What is it all about? Now you're not asking it. 511 consultancy, what is it all about? Is that part of the operational running of the
No.
It's not? You just get the money to put it go?
No, it's strictly for consultants that we hire to carry on critical functions of the Ministry of
You're
Public
taking a
Works.
word to define a word. I'm not asking for that. I'm asking you what is the purpose of the consultancy? Is it part of the day-to-day running of the ministry?
No,
What is it?
it's for consultancy, meaning we pay people. We pay people to provide services for us and not goods. Technical services in, for example, in rural development, in the construction bureau, in
Engineers cannot provide. You don't have the kind of engineer in-house to provide services. You know, half of $1 million to do that. That's what you're saying.
yeah, we additional staff to be able to carry on that function.
Minister, good morning. Again. My concern is page 7.
Seven.
The first, the second column where you have the list of contract funded under periodic maintenance and resurfacing of membrane roads. The project titles are there. Then you move to the third or the fourth, the project cost. Then you come to amount expended. You come to the project status. Fine. First, my question will be, what percentage of payment do you consider as mobilization? Because when you see the project status, you see mobilization, and the payment. What percentage do you consider?
Number of works that need to be done, and so the mobilization is allocated. So in this case, it's 25%. Sorry, please. Our projects varies, like I said. We catch up some at 35% also. Yes, sir.
To answer your question, like my boss rightly said, the mobilization cost, yes.
My name is Honorable Winston Kazulu, to your question.
Honorable Kazulu.
Yes.
My apologies for that oversight. All right, so if I will be right, you asked for the percentage of mobilization for the project stipulated under this particular sub-item. So for maintenance or any contract that we have, they vary for mobilization. For the first three, the chip seal projects for Sino, Babalu, and for Grand Cru, the mobilization was at 35%. And that was paid. And then for the St. Paul, Johnson Street to St. Paul Bridge, that mobilization was 30%. And for the trial test poly roads, there was no mobilization given. It was upon completion and completion of defect liability before payment was made. To address the first question, yes.
Okay, but if you look at the last column,
Road safety work?
the road, you are 69.6%. You still referring to it as mobilizations across. The last second to the last row.
Oh, may you
Where
just
you
read it?
have, yeah, page 7, supply and delivery of pedestrian crosswalk light and installation of traffic light. Also,
Honorable Kazulu, good morning, and thank you for the question that you just posted. My name is James Reynolds. I'm the Assistant Minister for Planning and Programming. So in speaking to the pedestrian safety light issue, because in this particular case, the contractor is required, the structure of this contract is a bit different. The contractor is required to bring in all the supplies of the street lights and the accessories for the street lights, including the pedestrian signals and all of that, so that it will be in country at once. And then when he installs it, before we pay him. So we consider the cost that he provides from the supply, the cost of purchasing of those items, importing them in the country from China and delivering it to site, as well as the cost of him going to do some of the work. So he bears more risks in this case because that transfer is done through an LC system. So that's why the mobilization is different in that particular case. Thank you, sir.
And you see mobilization. What do you mean by that?
So, supply
And delivery.
And there's a third term for, okay. So the contract mobilization is based on how much we intend to give you as upfront payment whilst you provide the guarantees needed to secure that item. So in this particular case, we are mobilizing you, or we are giving you what is needed for you to be able to purchase, deliver to site, and install. But it's still the first payment, so it's still mobilization.
I want to refer you to page 4. Page 4. Page 4, page 5. Let's get to page 4. Let's look at the first cost associated with the application of a development project. We got like 2 million project costs, we got amount of spending so far 600,000. And then we got 50%. And I don't know how you're doing the rating, what is the cost savings here. And you go to the next one, we got 2,315,000 and change. And you use 463,000 change. And you read 100%. So I don't know what's happening here too. Please clarify this thing because if I'm rating it as per the cost associated with it, it means that for many houses this is 10%. The one that is 700,000 paid, I would say is 10% on the basis of our own cost expression over the amount spent so far. So I'm going to make clarity that we're doing cost savings or what's going on. Then I go to page 5 quickly. Let me wrap it up with that. Then page 5. Paid by NRF. Okay, and if I add the two costs, almost close to the 247, which is so much clear to me, but as compared to the first one, why you didn't do it that way? So please make clarity to me. Thank you.
Budgetman Passewin. So here what happened here? You have $247,797.60 as the actual total cost of the project. The level of completion is 100%, but in order for you to be paid the total amount of this project, there is an area of land called defect liability that needs to be certified by our engineers. So meaning that we'll pay you for your mobilization, we'll pay you for the certificate of completions up to 100% level, but to be able to have access to the balance, the Ministry of Public Works needs to be convinced that what the work you've done, it will last for a longer period of time. So there where the defect liability comes in. So if you notice here, we paid, no, confused.
Okay. Yeah, okay, for your 600 areas will see 100% completion, that is start of the project up to date. That project being completed But when you have given the contractor, that's why it's reflected here. So the project may cost at $247,997. That's the cost of the project, but the money that is spent to the contractor is why it's reflected in the
Fiscal
period.
We understand.
Can I go to page 4, please?
No, wait. We understand exuberant out of your want to do, but I don't want to use that other word. Because they give you the opportunity, you didn't do it, give it to them when I want to be.
But let's take our time and answer the question.
Yeah, then a follow up on this too. Let's go to page 4. Where you spend the 700,000, again the 6.4 million.
Account
You
for
said
it as
55%. So are you saying that which I do constitute 10% of this amount, but you saying 55% mean that the contractor gonna work up to 55%, only paying up to 10%.
Yes,
Okay. Thank you for that.
Fiscal period that we are accounting for. Thank you.
Huh? Yes. So, thank you, sir. So, my response was saying,
They're asking what I just said. You said, put your saying on hold now,
yeah. So, sir, with respect to the accumulation, right, we can produce that to the committee whenever we are called to do so, sir. Thank you.
On the percentage as reflected in our budget. The startup you see here in the budget is the startup of the date of these projects. So if I'm against the project cost, I don't want to make that clear. The second response, I'll just turn the microphone to one of our technical.
Go back to your
Okay, the answer to your question, the one that you got concerned on the percentage.
6 million.
Okay.
And you say you paid 700,000.
Yes.
And you are saying what B/F payment reflects disbursement with euro, 55%.
Okay.
So when you reach that, we believe that $700,000 represents 55% of 6 million. That's what you say.
Yeah, that's how it looked at, but that's why we are
Minister.
Mr. Chair, can I make an intervention? Mr. Chair, can I make an intervention? Information, intervention. Okay. The intervention, we take that, then we go to Senator. I try to respect the senator today, you know. Not today, always respect every day. Yeah, I remember saying it. You got it, Martin, when you draw me to my area. Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair. Only 1 minute, please. We know there are issues with the public work report. Let's hold on. We'll be able to solve it.
My intervention will just be maybe a question I could clarify something quickly. Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Minister, most of these contracts are they pre-financed by the contractors? So your completion in terms of status is going to be the level of work done by the contractor, whether or not you pay debt.
Mobilization.
Exactly.
That's the intervention I want to make. So this final status is more about what the contractor is doing against what government has actually paid.
Okay.
Then we'll have an understanding.
Thank you. Senator TJ. Now hold on, please. I'm coming closer.
I'd like to say that our prayers are with Minister of Public Family, with the help of the Minister, we all pray so that we will be okay for region. Having said that, I'd like to take you to page 12, then we'll come back to the announcement. But let's go to page 12. You have all fixed assets, and you are requesting for 29 million unexplained other fixed assets. Maybe you did not explain it in here, but you might want to give us a little indication as to what constitutes other fixed assets. And you want 29 million. If you're requesting a budget of 32.2 million and you want 29 to go to unexplained assets is difficult to continent what we're talking about. That's number one. Then the second one is, right now I see two contractors, actually I'm one of two contractors, I see one here listed regarding the road to the southeast through Buchanan. And you made some payments. This is on page, I think it's page 6. Page 6. You made some payments to one of these contractors, and I still see there a mobilization. And so, Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to clarify, these mobilization sessions that you've made, that these contractors have received, right now, and we have to give you the credit you raised, not going to be able to Google and you just put it in the trash and try to question thing and embarrassing way. When she was nominated, she went to the southeast to see the road on each.
But she didn't go to Bombay, what are you talking about?
And we appreciate that.
She went Bonga?
We appreciate that. But right now, as we have on the minister, you cannot cross a place they call one house from Basel before you get to Atia. And I see something that you did here to do a road from Atia Bridge to go to Greenville. But you have to cross Basel first before you can go to Greenville. And right now, you can't go through. First, the place is terrible. So, yeah, so I just wanted to call your attention to this so that will bring us up to speed what that particular contractor is doing on the road at the one house area. When that is answered, I want to know the percentage of what the road fund is doing for roads outside of Monrovia. Because my little calculation, the last time when the minister was here, it was at 82.something% of the road fund was being used in Monrovia. Now, from what I see here, it's dropped to 79% of the road fund. Everything is in Monrovia. Why are we ignoring Liberia outside of Monrovia?
That's a
serious problem. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
So we have to look at that issue as to how you expand the road fund across this country, because everywhere is important. Go ahead.
29 million that you asked for is broken into two major subsets. 3 million for the John River Bridge.
Yes.
It's there, yeah, it's inside here.
Page 12.
Page 12.
13.
No. Okay, page 17. The last page. Yeah. The last figure there, $3 million. That's yes. Okay, so 3 million under there for the John River Bridge. That's the bridge connecting us to RIA. There's a major thing that we got to do on there. And then 26 million for a series of work spelled out in the road fund that Minister Randall will explain. But for the general caption, for maintenance, we'll spend $14,040 for maintenance. So he will explain, capture the balance 26 million under the whole thing. So 26 plus 3 will give you 29. And then Minister Kelly will explain on the issue of the RTR going forward within a purview.
Thank you, Actually. Honorable Senator, good morning, and thank you for the question that you raised earlier. And thanks to the Budget Committee for this particular concern. Over a period of time, we at the Ministry of Public Works have raised similar concerns. And with the action of the Road Fund Act, it has allowed us to approach maintenance and road development in a different way. Currently, what we do is that we plan as per the regulations in the Act that defines a strategy for investing road funds for the improvement of the roads across Liberia. So I just want to take you to, beginning from page 13, I'll do an overview of how our program is structured, and then my colleagues will come in and explain further, particularly regarding the different roads that we are looking at. So if you look at the program, beginning from page 13, you see that's our expenditure program for the year 2020-2021. First thing, we've budgeted 40% of the 26 million to go directly into rehabilitation and upgrade. That 40%, if you look on page 13, represents 10.4 million. The subdivision of the 10.4 million cuts across PSRP projects, counterpart funding, including CCRAM, that is the Gantt interpreter, that's the strategy of what we intend to put in there from the available resources we gather through the road fund. It also shows what we intend to invest into rehabilitation, the different types of rehabilitation, including ongoing works, completed works, and then new projects. So those are the different allocation of funding that you see in there. If you turn the page to page 14, you see we put something aside for emergency. We took 6% of our budgeted, allocated amount under the road fund for emergency works. And then beyond that, we put, the next point there is the maintenance. We put 54% of that budget to go into maintenance. If you look critically, just to address some of the concerns that you raised, you've seen that we subdivided maintenance into periodic maintenance of primary roads, secondary and feeder roads. As you can see, we also intend to spend about 1.2 million on secondary and feeder roads. We intend to spend about 800,000 periodic maintenance on new primary roads, so that will address the issues of the bridge, the first part of the Buchanan Greenville corridor that you raised, Honorable Senator, so that we'll be able to have some of the other areas contracted. Currently, we are concluding the contracting processes to get a new person on that corridor. If you turn the page, you see we also, on page 15, we also provided a new strategy for routine maintenance. We subdivided it into primary roads, including those that are brought forward for this new fiscal year and those that are ongoing. We targeted feeder roads investments, that is about 750,000. Secondary and feeder roads, we are targeted about 500,000 in there.
What my colleague was addressing is the proposed budget for this 2020-21 fiscal period. So Buchanan to ITI that we are all concerned about has already been contracted to a contractor who is performing, however, under financial constraints, but he is performing. And once these financial challenges can be addressed, then definitely his performance will increase. You also asked previously why that particular road section is not captured on the list of roads here, but I would like to make clear that we have not placed all of our projects here. We are placing the projects that were paid for under the period of review, which is 2019-2020. We have annexed the total list of projects that we currently have contracted or we are obligated to as the Ministry of Public Works, and definitely Buchanan to ITI is there. As to how the contractor for the ITI bridge to Greenville was paid during the 2019-2020 fiscal period, it is definitely because there are procedures and processes that make you eligible for payment. So as a contractor is awarded their submissions and how timely they submit and how timely their contracts are signed, that is what makes them eligible for payment. So they were able to get in at this particular period. So the payments that were made for Buchanan to ITI Bridge and Cestos are being made under the 2020-21 budget period. I hope that is clear, sir.
All that right. And we all know the rainy season that we have in our country. We are looking for value for money and to be efficient. What is the update of that experiment that I think is lesser than the usual pavement? I think that's what I think we need to be updated on that.
Tapowan, my apologies. You're concerned about the 14 military hospital road, to be exact, that we used a new or innovative technology to seal the roads. At the Ministry of Public Works, we have recognized the challenge with continuously repairing or maintaining laterite roads. As you know, during the rainy season, laterite roads and rain are not friendly at all, and it makes the cost of maintenance so high over several years, if you calculate it. So we did introduce this technology as a pilot and an experiment. Currently, it has been functioning well to the extent that, the entrance, it was done on the entrance to the 14 Military Hospital. So we are going to the extent of completing to the exit so that the ambulance and other cars that go there can enter and go through the 14 Military and come out to the EBK barracks. Then we can have more traffic flowing there. But so far, the performance has been commendable. It is still, however, under observation, because at the time that it was completed, it was still dry season. So after this rainy season again, we observe it twice monthly to see the differences in it, and so far the performance has been fine. Now, to address the fact that it is less than our usual asphalt, it is our plan, in the light of our passion for innovation, to see how best we can incorporate more feeder roads, especially roads with less traffic on them within the communities, to see how we can seal them, and that will save us a whole lot of cost. Because technically it is around 250 to 300,000, depending on the type of intervention. You may only do the road itself just to seal it, that will be much less. But if you do the road and you add other ancillaries, such as sidewalks or maybe street lights or as drainages, then that's how the cost increases. But the product itself is something that's commendable, and we should continue to look into it.
We say thank you for the presentation, and thank you to our colleagues for all the interventions. But we have a series of unresolved issues from the presentation. So by that, we will be setting a small committee that you will work with for now to Wednesday of next week, so that the unfinished issues, we can be able to address them. So that said, we have a committee headed by the chair, Honorable Kafia, Senator Situma, Senator Milton Tieje, Honorable Hanson Kiazulu, Honorable Joseph Matthew, and Honorable Matthew Joe. That is the committee, and we'll get to you for the timing of our first meeting. So thank you for coming. You are hereby discharged.
Media of Wheels, Mr. Fana will always brief the media on what the pit looks like. Not in detail though, but the honorable in charge of the Wheels and Means Committee, or the Joint Committee, will give you an overview and then further update you on questions that you may not have understood during the hearings. And ladies and gentlemen of the press, Honorable Edward Kafia, member in charge of the Wheels and Means Committee of the Legislature. Honorable Kafia.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen of the press. We're happy to have you here as we ended the public hearings of the expenditure portion of our national budget, and we'll be reverting to committee room where most of the unresolved issues will be discussed and decisions made thereof in the interest of our country and our people. Considering the different critical sectors of our country, especially during the COVID crisis, the issue of health was highlighted in our expenditure side, and the Ministry of Finance duly was able to say that our fiscal space would not allow them to do more than what they did. Howbeit, it is within our power for us to see whether we can be able to shift or do whatever that will be in the interest of the country, given that health is a wealth, except you have not been sick and recover. But when if you ever been sick and recover, you know that health is a wealth. And that is something that we have to work for, and we have to look in that line. We also came across the sector of the infrastructure sector, giving road construction across our country. And the different sectors, say the Southeast, all across our country, even in Monrovia here, bar roads is a serious issue. So we have the issue with public work appearing 2 times, and we are now going with them in committee room for us to look at the critical corridors in our country, so that when we are apportioning revenue or monies to public work for them to do for us road this year, they will be able to look into critical corridors that will bring about growth, that will alleviate poverty, or say find a means for people to get from one place to another, given that they had to access basic services of our country. And that being said, there are several issues that were unresolved, so we have different committees, subcommittees that will be working beginning Monday and so forth for us to conclude as to the passage of the budget.
The Honorable will take questions, not more than 10, please, because
soon
of time.
will this be
We
done?
recognize Yiga from EOBC.
Thank you. So, just a concern to know, following the submission of the budget, the finance minister spoke about significant progress. Are we considering maybe the income, the generating entities, have they said that they will realize, probably reach a figure so that this issue of budget shortfall is avoided?
I can show you that we graduated from the place where we tend to do budgeting based on what we think was possible. As it is, the assumptions are based on 90 to 95% surety that we'll get that money. There are different places you see our revenue number may just grow a little bit. It was submitted at 535, but you will notice that it will go beyond 535. But we can assure the public that any number we'll be announcing that will be something very sure of, that we are very sure of, 90 to 95% that will be coming. There are other places where we felt that fell short, the percentage fell short of 90 or 80, we didn't take that. We knew they would come, but we couldn't take that because we set the bar this time so high so that there's certainty of us getting any money that we put in the budget this time.
ABC Radio, Jackson.
Jackson, so I didn't hear you talk about the issue of education. Were there additional funds added to the Ministry of Education? Or?
As a critical segment of our sector of our country, education is not an exception. So when we say sectors, we didn't want to list all of them. I said that if you followed me, education was highlighted. There are needs in the educational sector, especially in COVID time, that our children will be returning to schools. There are measures that will be put in place so that they are safe on campus while they are there. We want them to learn, but we need them to be alive to learn. So we have to do certain things there. So we're working with the Ministry of Education to address some of those issues. And of course, yes, education is a highlight.
KNTV, Sherman.
Yes, sir. We listened to the managing director of the state-owned media house talk about budgetary allocation. I mean, are you considering that, to the fact that they talk about some substations that might not operate based on the budget? Are you considering that, sir?
We are concerned about that because information is all right. Access to information is all right. So we are duly considering that, and we interact with them in committee room so that we'll be able to address some of the issues and concerns they have. We are aware that the different stations that are in different locations need to come on. I come from Bond County. We got one there that is not functional right now. So we are concerned. We know. We come from the community.
Roland Wowi. We got 4 now, sir, please. Roland Wowi.
Mr. Honorable Representative and co-chair of the committee, the election commission, we are very concerned about this year election.
As we are speaking,
How far
the
has
subcommittee,
this committee gone with the election
I'm
fund?
saying to you, as we are speaking, the subcommittee on the elections, I'm meeting with them now on the Senate side. We have critical issues. Right now, you're doing voter roll update. So the issue of having access to money should be as like yesterday. So we are concerned about that, and we are addressing them adequately.
Jonathan Freeman.
Yeah. On Okafi, I'm very concerned about the appearance of LCC on 2 separate occasions. Then I council, how are you going to allot funds to that government-run institution when if I don't know their needs and wants?
LCC came, they submitted their presentation, and we have a subcommittee that is working with them, headed by Honorable Hassan Kezulu and several other colleagues, and they'll be working with them for us to make sure that what is due them will be put in their in for them to do what they are required under the law to do.
We have 3 more, please. Vani Kamara, Prince Mova, and Dublin.
Yeah, Honorable Kafia, the government is operating a small envelope. This means that you have to squeeze water out of the rock.
Squeeze into your room.
Yes. So, in a descending order, can you tell us which ministries or agencies are you going to give priority to? Have you listened to almost all of them?
I said to you, we'll start with the critical sector. Say the health sector, say education, so infrastructure with its role, connectivity. You know, the services of those sectors I'm naming, it cut across. No one is oblivious of the fact that if the health sector is well served, that means it will affect everywhere in our country. So we have to consider that first, given that we are in a pandemic. We also have to consider that education is a priority for our younger generation to have access to education. Then, of course, they should be safe on campus. Teachers being on payroll, those who have been serving voluntarily, getting on payroll is a concern. We have to know that extra schools construction or whatever in the educational sector is a concern for us, and we've been looking at that. So if you look at that, you also look at public work with a road, because without road you cannot even build new structure. Say school, say clinic, or you cannot carry a supply to the clinics or the school in difficult communities. So we take down in that order, and as we go down, security is also a concern. So almost everyone is just as important as anything. Say MIA, say the Ministry of Justice, Defense. You were here, you saw the soldiers coming that day. Then, though they were behind closed door, but the fact was there were genuine concerns that they brought, and we are going to look at them.
My name is Prince. When the draft budget was submitted to you, one of your colleagues did analysis on the compensation aspect of some nomination agencies. He saw that there were increment in the compensation, and he was actually your committee, the Committee on Wage, Means and Finance, to look into that, taking into consideration the government operates now in an harmonization policy. So if there are increment in
one of the issues that came out that perhaps could speak to that was that right now, if you look at the civil service agency, their money for last year, their allotment for last year, or appropriation for last year dropped, because civil service used to pay all of the presidential appointees, say minister, deputy minister, assistant ministers. So that was consolidated as CSA. But in this budget, we disaggregated it and sent those people to their different line ministry and agencies. So, for example, Ministry X, budget was increased by, say, 200,000. That 200,000 is on account of the presidential appointees. So that is something that we actually found out during our deliberation.
Okay, FM. Okay, my name is Varnin Dutle. Over Kafia, there are stories of last budget year where the legislature made appropriation to institutions, and some of these appropriations in the Ministry of Finance report, it was indicated that some of the funds were disbursed. Evidence of the Ministry of Education 1 million share saga that was argued upon here, and the Ministry of Finance had to ask them to bring a report. My question is, what's the caveat now, 2021 going forward, given the appropriation you have about to make, that we should not have a recurrence of what happened this, some budget.
Thank you so much. And I think we're trying to address that in a practical way. You know, when the IFME system, the system that we use to collect our data at the Ministry of Finance, accordingly, when an allotment is done, that means you are carried a voucher, the allotment is done, you carry the voucher, then the Controller General Office, which has to do with the technical aspect, they then capture that. When that voucher is captured and is made into check, it's a commitment. That means the system picks it up as payment. But sometimes those checks are not paid, give you availability of money. You go to the CAG office, you find part of checks there. Because if monies are not available at a certain time, especially the budget year we're talking about, 2018, 2019, sometimes, classic example was with the House of Representatives. We had a check for Super Petroleum SP that supply of fuel. The check went to the bank, but the check bounced. We have to come back the following year for us to pay for that. So sometimes those kind of situations happen in that during the fiscal year. But now as it is, we're trying to work with them so that until the money is paid through the check that goes to the vendor, it should not be captured. So that's the kind of correction aspect we want to do.
Ladies and gentlemen of the press, before Honorable Kafia gives a short summary of the interview, we'd like to make it the fact known that we're introducing as member of the Ways and Means in charge, but actually he's the chair on public accounts and expenditure, so you refer to him in your stories. Honorable Kafe will end this interview with a very short conclusive statement on summarizing some of what he discussed. Thank you.
Colleagues of the press, I want to say thank you for following us, for lifting the hearings here and sending it to our families, to our different communities, and people are following and seeing what is happening here because we run an open budget, and that is why you are very crucial. We want to appreciate you for what you have done because like you were here yesterday, one of my big brother from the county called me, he said, oh, I saw you presiding, you were dealing with one ministry and agency this way or that way. He made some assertion. So I really appreciated it yesterday and said these guys are doing a crucial job and we need to recognize that. So I want to in this public manner say thank you for following the story and helping our community to know that what is happening here is not done behind the door, but it's done in the interest of the country, in the open, so that people will know what is happening here in their interest or against them, so someone will say. So I want to say thank you. God bless you. We are going to committee room. You will see us here in the next few days. I'm hoping for now, per what we discussed in committee, for now to the end of the month, we may pass the budget so that the ministries and agencies will get down in terms of work for us to finalize the implementation of our policy programs and intervention.